Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Edu Ribeiro here for one more drum conversation. Maybe almost Christmas, and we are here to talk about drums with you. And today I want to start playing some bursts because we're gonna have the master of the burst, the master of the tone of the drum set today. But I will start with El Rei dos Casamentos, a song that I wrote for my first album, and I just want to play to you. Okay? Thank you for being here, and see you in a minute. Yes. so. Okay, people. Thank you for being here. That was El Rei dos Casamentos, song that I wrote, and with Robinho Antunes on trumpet, Guilherme Ribeiro on piano, and Bruno Migot on bass. And now we're gonna have for our drum conversation, for me, one of the most beautiful tones, one most beautiful touch that we heard, we listened in the drum set on all of my life. Please clap your hands for the Mr. Joy La Barbera. Joy.
Hello, Edu. Wonderful playing. So nice to hear you play live, man. Great.
Oh man, thank you for that. Almost live. We are almost live but for now in this year everything is almost live, and you have to consider that live. Okay,
Yes.
we are live now. And Joe, thank you for being here. It's an honor to me and to to our viewers be having you here. Please, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. And by the way, I also loved your composition. That was your song you just played, too.
Yeah, it's a composition.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice. It's a pleasure to speak with you. I watched the broadcast you did with Jeff Hamilton and the one you did with Peter Erskine, and they were both just terrific. So I'm happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy too. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Joe, you are in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Ah, great. But are you from Los Angeles?
No. I come from a small village in New York State called Mount Morris. I have two older brothers, Pat and John, both very well-known musicians. And, we grew up in this small community. My father taught us music. We learned from a very young age. My father's from Sicily. He came to America in 1911. So music was in our family right from the beginning, and we were fortunate to grow up in that environment. And then we were all able to go on to Berkeley College, and then from there our careers started, in the late '60s, 1960s, and from there it's just been, one thing after another. We've been very fortunate, and the bond that the family had and the bond that the music has created for us has kept us very close all these years. We're still in communication every week at least. We talk all the time.
Wow, that's great. That's amazing. That's amazing. And you are talking about your career, and of course, it's so significant and so huge that part that you did with Mark Johnson and Bill Evans in this trio. But what you did before that, and how was the invitation or the opportunity to start to play with this trio in this time?
I came up at a time when there was plenty of opportunity, Edu. So, in 1968, I did my first professional gig with a singer in Las Vegas with Frankie Randall with Buddy Rich's band for a month. And then from there, I went into the Army for 2 years, and then when I came out, I joined Woody Herman's band. It was just kind of the tail end of the big band, when big bands were able to survive. From Woody Herman's band, I went to Chuck Mangioni's quartet for 4 years, and then moved into New York. So there were a lot of opportunities for players back then, which unfortunately do not exist today, and particularly right now. I feel very bad for students graduating right now, but they just need to stay focused and be optimistic and know that a brighter day is coming. But for me back then, that move to New York, those years on the road, very valuable experience. The time with Woody, the time with Chuck, that was very valuable. I learned a great deal. I grew as a musician. I got to play with orchestras with Chuck Mangione, and I watched you in a beautiful concert just the other day with orchestra in was it in Rio or was that in Sao Paulo where you did that with the orchestra?
In Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo. What a great orchestra! So
Thank
and
you.
that's a challenge. I know what you were doing. I mean, I understand how much detail you have to pay attention to, because your dynamics and
Yeah.
getting that, all those musicians are behind you, and you have to make it feel as if, and it all sounded so great. And so those kinds of experiences were very important for me with Chuck. And then moving to New York City, of course, then things started to happen very quickly. One of the first jobs I had in New York was with Jim Hall and Michael Moore. My good friend Bill Goodwin uh, gave me that job because he was overbooked. So he subbed that out for me, and that was a great opportunity for me, because as a new musician in New York City, everyone was coming to hear Jim Hall, and of course, they got to hear me, and I got a lot of I got more work out of that particular experience, and then started to work with John Schofield when he first moved to New York, and we started playing together. In fact, Richie Byrack just sent me some audio from the Berlin Jazz Festival that we did with John in 1977 with George Mraz and Richie and myself, that I had never heard, and he just sent me that a couple of days ago. So that was an opportunity. I started playing with Michael and Randy Brecker in Hal Galper's group. Things just started to happen. So being in New York at the time and working with all those people, I became very visible. You know,
Okay.
people knew who I was. So
Yeah.
it was just one of those lucky breaks that Bill Evans was looking for a drummer in 1978 when he came by to hear me. I was playing with Toots Thielmans at a club in New York, and Bill and Helen Keane, his manager, came in to the club and introduced themselves. And then a few days later, I got a call from Helen asking me to come to their next gig at the Village Vanguard.
Wow.
And sit in, and that's how it all started. Mark Johnson had joined about 4 months earlier, and then Bill decided he was going to make a change in the drum chair, and that's where it all starts, right there. Just being in a scene and having these opportunities. You know, if you're prepared,
Yeah.
then things will happen. But of course you have to put the time in. You have to practice. You have to be ready to go. That goes without saying.
Yeah. You have to be prepared to the opportunities. And man, that I was listening a lot of things about you in all my life, but last week from now, because we have to talk. But there is a recording that for me is so special. That is the My Romance in Paris concert, because that was the first time for me that I heard about the metric modulations between the solos. And I remember that I remember that the right place that I was when I heard that. And you start the solo, and when you when are you going to give the solo to Mark Johnson, the tempo changed, and I said, man, what's happened here? I never was exposed of that before. And my question about that is, how it happened. Who did? Of course, that's not arrangement, but is a kind of ideas that you are changing with the music, with the musicians that you're playing. But it comes from one of the other. And how was the possibility to change these ideas in the kind of trio like that?
You know, we had one rehearsal.
Wow.
With Bill Evans.
Wow.
He never rehearsed ever. And in fact, he didn't really want to rehearse. He was lonely. He was in his apartment, divorced, not divorced, but separated from his wife. And so he was lonely, and he called Mark and me up, and he said, "You got to come out, man. We got to rehearse." So Mark and I are thinking, okay. So we drove out to his apartment. We got the drums up. We got all set up. And he says, "Oh, guys, you know, we really don't need to rehearse. You know, the trio sounds great." He said, "But so we're there." but he says, "Since you're here, Eddie Gomez showed me this thing that he got from Miles, because Eddie used to play with Miles. He used to sub for Ron Carter. This thing that Miles was doing with metric modulation. And if you watch some Miles Davis videos from the same period, from the mid-'60s, you will
Hmm.
see where he's using the same device. This was something that Herbie and Tony and Ron had come up with, and it's and so we tried it a couple of times, and Bill said, let's see if we can use this on My Romance, and so we started to do that, and I think by the time we got to Paris, we'd worked it out pretty well. The way it works is simply you shift down in tempo using dotted quarter notes,
Yeah.
and you shift up using quarter note triplets. So I can show you if you like.
Oh, please.
And I don't want to give Rachel fits here, but I was just thinking it might be better if we tried this camera. So see if this comes through. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
better. That's very good.
Oops. Okay, just let me get my microphone back in place.
Oh, that's amazing.
So the original tempo is about here. And
Yeah.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a dotted quarter note pattern over the last two bars,
Okay.
and it'll shift down. So here's My Romance
Okay.
from the last eight bars. One,
Okay.
two. Now we shift up.
Yeah. That's amazing. Wow. Wow, that is amazing. Hello. That's amazing. Joy.
I'm here.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that. That is amazing. That's and the explanation about the metric modulation is amazing. But can see you playing bursts for this view is something is emotional. I can't say the words, but for me it makes something when your health what is the word for that when you
We call it goosebumps in America.
goosebumps, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And that and that record was so special to me because was the first time that I heard about metric modulation, and was the first time that was not the first time, but was one of the times that I was so exposed to a so clear solo about the form. That is something that for me is a challenge, and I think for the drummer is a challenge because when you're trying to improvise with piano or any other instrument, when people accompany making the accompaniment, you have the form, the chords going around, and you have some it's a kind of some spots that you can step there. But when you solo drum solo over the form, but without anybody playing the harmony for you, is a challenge because for me I don't know. I'm trying to listen the melody all the time, and I want to ask you about that. What are you thinking about when are you soloing without no one playing with you, but you can do that very easy for the listener. We don't have to make mathematic things. We are just listening that your melodies over the form, but without harmony. Is your approach about that?
Well, first of all, you have to understand what the song form is. You have to understand what you're playing on. So, My Romance or Beautiful Love, the songs that are on that particular recording, those are 32 bar song forms. Now, My Romance is yeah, so that's A B
Mm-hmm.
AC, and so is Beautiful Love is A B A C. So they're 32 bar songs.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you know that, and you know what the melodic phrase is, and when you know what the harmonic form is, and by that I mean in your mind, you should be able to hear the harmonies passing by without the melody, because this is what other instruments use to improvise on. Of course, they know specifically what chord change goes over which measure. But
Mm-hmm.
for us, it's more important to hear a melody that is based on the harmonies of that song. And when you can hear that in your mind, then you can start to create melodic phrases on the drums. Not that you're not trying to play, a C7 flat 9 or whatever. It's none of that.
Yeah.
What you're trying to do is make a connection with the song itself, so that
Yeah.
you are playing on the exact same harmonic form and melodic form that the others are. And one of the things I stress with my students always is to be melody conscious. And I don't just mean the melody of the song, but when you're actually improvising, you should be creating melodies. You should be making phrases. That's how you connect with a song, and that's how people are able to recognize the song when you're playing, because you're making a melodic phrase that makes sense the same way
Mm-hmm.
that a saxophone player or a piano player would.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. And but it's still hard for the drummer.
Yeah,
Make sense with that.
true.
And
You must be patient. You have to take it slowly. So drummers, we practice technical things. We try to play a very hip and very complicated things on the
yeah.
drums, and that's good to know. But when you're actually improvising, I want to give you like one chorus of My Romance.
Okay. Please. Wow.
One, two.
Wow. Perfect. That is perfect.
Well, I don't know
That's
that it's perfect, but the thing is, you're able to hear the song
yeah.
clearly, and this is more important than trying to impress somebody. And the other thing I always tell my students is, no matter what you're playing in your solo, make sure that the last four measures are crystal clear.
Yeah.
You don't want the whole thing to get to fall apart in that last four measures. So just be simpler. Just make sure that everyone knows where you are and that you're coming to a conclusion.
Yeah. Great. Great. Make it easy for the others to
Yes.
play with you. Yeah. And enjoy. Uh, your tone in the drums. That recording, that the same recording. There is a beautiful and a huge sound of drum set, and you are playing so. Is a warm concert. It's a warm time. From we can see that, but it's so is so easy, but your sound is very big, is huge. And how how do you have a sound, a very big sound with brushes? I my in my meaning, you use that part of the brushes on the tone. Is that
Yes.
is that used?
Yes. I like to get as much of the bristle on the head as possible to because you get a fuller sound that way. I noticed when you were playing the track to start, you were playing mostly with the tips, and that gives you a very precise articulation, which is important. You need to be able to control the brush from the tips and from. I'm sorry to keep going back and forth here, man, but you know, if you're going to ask me a specific question like this, I think I need to address it.
Please. I'm loving that.
Okay. So when I'm teaching my students, what I will tell them is to think of this as the tip of your brush.
Okay.
You don't want to hit there. You want to hit right about there. But
Yeah.
that way you're getting all of the bristles on the head.
Yeah.
Tips, and you know, some things you can practice are very basic, like rolls. You know, 5-stroke
Uh-huh.
roll. So you practice all the rolls like that, and you gain some control. And
Wow.
there's a snap that you get with the wrist. You don't
Mhm.
press into the head. You hit and release.
Great. Great.
I decided
Great.
to step into your world for a minute.
Great. Great. Amazing. I love that. Great. Oh, thank you for that, Joe.
Hmm.
That is the tip, it's not the cable. Oh, oh, oh. And that's something that after that you play with sticks and you have a beautiful tone too. And I never get the sensation that you are hitting hard or you are hitting. The sensation that I have, that's the head is breathing all the
Yes.
time.
Right.
Is there any special control that you have with the sticks to take this tone?
Well, I think it's the approach that I use is one that has been around for many many years, and that is to draw the sound from the drum. You know, you pull the sound out. You cannot beat the sound into the drum. You know this. You have to
Yeah.
let the you can play as forcefully as you need to, but after the attack, there's a release. You're pulling the sound out. You're not choking the drum. This is very important. And I've just had good training, and that's the way I've always approached it. That's the way I teach it. And that's why the drums sound, because you have a good set of drums. If you're not abusing them, you're going to get a good sound out of the drum. So I try to I try to let the drum speak. Not I don't play into the head. I pull out of the head.
Wow, wow. And that makes the sound more breathing.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you don't really have to play that loud to bring the sound out of a drum. I remember going to the Village Vanguard one night on a Monday when I was off years ago, and the band was playing, Thad and Mel, and I sat all the way in the back against the wall in the bar, and Mel started out this second line tune that they do, and it was at a whisper. I mean, it was so quiet, but you could hear everything all the way back there. And by the time they got to a mezzo forte, they were it was unbelievable. It sounded like, you know, a freight train coming at you. You know, it was just fantastic. But what a lesson in dynamics. You know, Mel always played that way, and you know the great drummers all do. Even, you know, Elvin Jones always played that way. You play very, very quietly, but you heard everything, and that's a matter of practice and control. If you can play at a quiet volume, then you can always play louder. But there are drummers, of course, that play loud all the time, and it's difficult for them to have the control, you know, at a quieter volume. You have to practice that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and that is something that for today, I don't know. Are you teaching in Cal Arts in this
Yes,
time?
yes.
How long are you doing that?
27 years. I will be retiring though in June. This will be my last semester coming up. Yeah, I think it's time for someone new to step in there. And quite frankly, I need some time for myself to work on some things for myself. But the time is right. My wife and I are both going to retire from what we do during the daytime in June, and we're looking forward to it.
Oh, that is sad for the students because they are not going to the chance to have more with you, but you deserve that
Thank you.
this time.
Thank you.
And how about the students for today? What they are looking for, what they are looking for with the music. How you see that? Because the music changed, the jazz sense changed, the sounds changed, and what they are looking for more. What do you think about it?
You know, I think this is a really, really positive time for the music. When I was at Berkeley in the '60s, everything was geared toward the straight ahead because that was the music that we were all listening to. We didn't cross over so much into the world of pop music yet. Today, what I'm finding with my students is that they like everything, and I think that's the best attitude to have. They love all of the music, so they're interested in a wide variety of styles and a wide variety of songs, and so. But the interest in playing straight ahead, you know, the way I was raised to play, that is still there. It's very strong. So that's something that I can help them with quite a bit. But I always go wherever they want to go. If a student comes in with something that I don't know about, I'm going to check it out, and we're gonna work on it together. So they want to learn how to play the drums properly, correctly. They want to learn how to play and get what they can from me, and then I want them to be able to apply that in any style of music. Whatever you're going to play, if you play the drum set well, it's just going to sound better.
Yeah, yeah, great, great. And today is there a lot of different ways to play, different styles, and
Oh my God.
that attitude that you have is very I'm sorry about my English, but you capture your student and you said, okay, I don't know about it, but I can check about it, and I will learn about it, and we have to make some deal with that, with my
Exactly.
approach and your approach, and we learn a lot about that.
I
Actually, I think we have a common student because Marcelo Bucate was
Yes.
my student here, and
Yes.
he used to study with you in Cal Arts. Is that?
That is so true. I love that guy and his wife Natalia, just wonderful people. Yeah, Marcelo was with me for 2 years working on his master's degree, and we had great lessons. And we're still friends today. I want to tell you, he was so astute as a student because he knew what he needed and he knew what to ask for. And I remember specifically one day he came in and said to me, Joe, I want to lose my accent. And I'm thinking, Marcelo, your English is perfect. What do you mean? You know, no, no, not my English. I want to lose my accent when I played straight ahead jazz at the drum set because he felt that he still didn't sound and feel the way, you know, most American drummers sounded and felt when they played the drum set. So we worked on some things that I think helped him to do that. But to me, that's the kind of question that only a really a clever student will come up with, will actually understand what it is they need from a teacher. So many times teachers, just start piling on things, practice this, practice that, technical things. But when someone comes with a specific in terms of, I want to change the way I sound and feel when I'm playing jazz, just the same way, I know when I try to play a samba, I sound like an American. I have an American accent. There's no doubt about it, right? And this
Yeah,
is
of course.
exactly, yeah. So this is exactly what he was trying to do
Yeah.
with jazz.
And how is your answer? Because that's a question that I do. I want to take off my accent too, playing that. How was your answer for him?
Well, first of all, you have to do a lot of listening, right? So you have to do a lot of listening to people that do this well, and there's lots of them. So if you're listening to Tony Williams and Elvin and all the masters, all of those musicians, it's like if I'm trying to learn Portuguese, right? I'm going to get one of those audio tapes, and I'm going to hear one person saying those words to me, right? So one person is going to teach me some Portuguese or some Italian or whatever language you're trying to learn. Well, that's only one example. But if you listen to 4 or 5 people say the same phrase, right?
Yeah.
Now you've got an understanding of really how this is going to feel. Now, we didn't get into that as deeply as we should have with Marcelo, but one thing we did do, and this was, I think this was an idea that he actually had, we took Bill Evans' left hand comping.
Yeah.
Left hand comping.
Yeah.
And he transcribed those comps.
Wow.
And that's what he played in his left hand. And it was amazing how different that sounded from everybody else that we were listening to. So that's one idea that we came up with. But that's how intently and how focused you have to be when you're trying to really learn about something. You have to do so much listening. I mean, if you think about it, I've been listening to what we call jazz in this country, in the world. I've been listening to that since I was 10 or 11 years old. So obviously I've heard a lot of it, and I've heard a lot of different people say it and play it. So that's really what it boils down to. The more you hear it, the easier it is for you to internalize it and to interpret it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I always do a lot of connection and comparison with language, and of course you have to know the language, you have to know the right words, but even everything, you still talking with accent.
Yes.
But when you start to talk more and you start to listen more, and you need to listen to communicate, start to be more easy, start to make more sense. And but I will try to transcribe the copy from Bill Evans too. I will call Bukate to do the specific music, the specific track.
It also would be helpful if I was able to play a samba with a band of Brazilians, I would learn very quickly because the feeling is there. If you were to play jazz with a band from New York or LA or from the state, you would learn very quickly because you would feel it right there in the moment on the spot. So that's an important part of the lesson.
That's a very good experience. That's something that I love when I went to some American school, Carl Arts or Juilliard's in New York, and there is a very exchanging about people from the different parts of the world playing together, playing the same music, the one hoof of music, but changing information and changing that vibe, that doing that together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I think is so great today, because we have students from all over the world at CalArts. We've been getting students from Brazil for many years now, but we have students coming in from China and from Israel. I mean, from all over the world are coming in, and this is a good thing because the more they interact, the more the music is going to grow, it's going to go in another direction. But that's okay. It should always keep moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. And I was listening some track that you did with I can't remember the name, but was a European trio with a guitar player and bass player.
Oh yeah, Hein van der Gein.
Yeah, and I love it that groove that you do, almost something like that. And that is so melodic, and I was captured with that sound with the heads and with the side stick, and that is beautiful.
Yeah, that's something that, I mean, Philly Joe used to do that. I mean, you would hear Philly play that. Shelly Manne, I learned so much from Shelly Manne in terms of sound and in terms of attack. But that's what you just played, which was very, very good, by the way. I love what you just sounded like. No, really, because the sound was there. You were bringing the sound out of the drums. So that is something that I would have heard somebody else do. I'm sure I heard Philly or somebody do that, and I just grabbed it.
Oh, great! But just if you talk about that, how was your influence as a drummer when you start, or for today, and as a musician?
Well, I mean, I listened to. My father had records of Benny Goodman with Krupa and Count Basie, 78s. As a family, we had a family band, and we played arrangements of Fletcher Henderson and Tommy Dorsey and Duke and Count Basie. We played all of that stuff. We played Italian polkas. We played all kinds of music, right? So I started hearing that music, and then gradually it became Lester Young and Joe Jones, and then it became Kenny Clark and Phil Woods, and it evolved gradually. My brother Pat, who's 4 years older than I am, he just knew somehow, intuitively, he knew the right recordings to bring home, and so by the time he brought home Miles Davis with Bill Evans and Coltrane and Cannonball, I mean, my ears were kind of ready for it. So it was just a gradual introduction to all of this music. But, I mean, in terms of the drummers, Papa Joe, Kenny Clark, Shelly Manne, Philly, Art Blakey, Elvin, Tony, Buddy Rich, all of those great drummers I got to hear and learn from on record and in person eventually. So that's an important thing. Plus the local musicians that were coming up in my area that are not so famous, but there was the Chuck Mangione and his brother Gap had the Jazz Brothers. Roy McCurdy, great drummer who lives here now, he was playing with them. Vinny Ruggiero, a wonderful drummer from New York who ended up living close to where I'm from, he was playing up here. He was a great influence. So those local players are very important to everybody.
Yeah, great. And Joe, we have a lot of people here, and just want to read some comments, okay? And
Sure.
Cristiano Stugui says, boa tarde, André Desplat, Educam Brasil, great tip and beautiful playing, such sensibility and firm touch at the same time, wonderful.
Thank you.
And S. Kovalush, the name is so hard for me, Kovalchuk, hello from Canada.
Oh.
Rogério
I know who that is. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, you know him?
I think we may have had a lesson. I'm trying to remember now. Is it Sean? Call it. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Anyway, yeah, I remember that name.
Yeah. And we have Rogério Bocato here. Great Edu, Grande Edu. What a guest today. Big fun here. Rogério Bocato is a great drummer from Brazil that he's living in New York and teaching.
Fabulous.
And Diego Zangado, Joey La Barbera, besides a great drumming, has a beautiful voice as well. Kind of radialist. We are talking about that. And Diego Zangado is a great drummer from Brazil too.
Oh, Diego, thank you, my friend.
Joey, Bocato has a question. Joey, could you please share one main thing you took from playing with the great Bill Evans?
Well, I mean, I think the most important thing was to always respect the music. I mean, Bill Evans, of course, was a genius and a giant. I mean, everybody knew about Bill Evans, and he had a great reputation, and he was a big name, but he never put himself above the music. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
the music was always here above
Yeah.
all of us. So we were all aiming for the music and serving the music, giving the music what it needed. And Bill gave Mark Johnson and me a lot of room. We could do anything we wanted, but along with that freedom of expression came responsibility. So we
Yeah.
had to be respectful to the music and always play for the music. And that, I think, that is the thing that I took away from Bill the most. The other thing was the clarity, because he was so clear with what he was playing, and that I know I learned from listening to him improvise, that there is a way to to play expressively and to play things that maybe are not simple, but to play them in a way so that the audience can understand. And for me, the audience is always the most important. They are what my wife likes to refer to as the end user, and that is important to me, because they are the people that you're really playing for, right? You're creating music for the listener, and of course for the other musicians. But if what I'm playing is so complicated that it's not communicating with the people out in front of me, then that's not serving the music.
It's not working. Yeah. It's not for you, it's for them.
Mm-hmm.
Great. 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 Oh, and you talked about Mark Johnson. I have the fortune to work with Mark here when we recorded with Eliane. And my question is, when you start to play with Bill, and you just admit that you met Mark Johnson a little bit before. You never played together before, play with Bill, or
No,
because that works very good.
it was automatic. I mean, with Mark, the first note we played, it never stopped feeling good for the whole. I mean, I don't get to play with him very often, but the instant that we start to play together, it's like we've never left each other. It's like always like this, always just.
Wow.
Yeah, it's always just so great. And he's another example of what we're talking about here today. With Mark, it's always crystal clear, right? When he improvises, the way he accompanies. You don't need anything. You don't need drums with Mark Johnson. The way he plays the bass, everything is there for you. Everything that you need, he gives you. So when someone can do that by themselves, then when you put them with another musician that's also, is also strong, they just get stronger.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Great. So, enjoy. You just talked about the things that are coming in June, but how is your projects for the next year? That time that you're gonna have to thinking about music. That you have some new projects coming soon.
Well, I don't have anything specific. What I need to do for myself, really, Edu, is to reconnect with the drums first. I have to start there. I have to make sure. I need to reintroduce myself to the drums for myself, because right now everything that I do is geared toward my students. Everything.
Yeah.
I'm practicing the same studies that they practice. I have to make sure that I'm able to teach them, and
Yeah.
with my ensemble at CalArts, since we cannot play together, we're all recording tracks and mixing them together and doing it that way. I need to reconnect with the drums. I need to write again. I haven't written any new songs in a year at least. So I need to reconnect with the piano back there and do some of that. But I don't have any specifics as far as touring or
Yeah.
anything like that. I actually stopped touring a couple of years ago. Thank you, my love. My wife just delivered a cup of coffee to me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
But I do have a band. I've had the same quintet now for 22 or 23 years now, maybe more, probably more,
Uh-huh.
25. So I want to start working with them again if it's possible. That
Great.
would be something I want to do. Yeah.
Great. Great. Hey, Joe, we can stay all the day here, but we are very close to Christmas, and you have a lot of uh, what is the word? Appointments and family things. And but I don't know if you don't mind if I ask you just to play a little bit more because
Oh,
the
sure.
tune is beautiful.
Yeah.
Anything that you want, just to see a little bit more that view that you're drumming.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll try to come up with something here. Let me just change the camera.
Yes.
I don't know if I can remember this thing, but this is actually I haven't played this in a long, long time, but I'm going to try it to see if I can remember it. This is
Oh,
this is a composition I wrote for Shelley Mann
yeah.
that's on one of my recordings called "The Mannerisms."
Okay. Oh, thank you for that. Wow. Wow. Beautiful, Joe. Beautiful. Wow, that's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. Beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Beautiful composition, beautiful tone, beautiful everything.
I am
Hello,
back.
Joey. Ah, okay. Yeah, now we have you. Man, beautiful composition, beautiful tone, beautiful
You're
everything.
You're
Amazing.
welcome. I'm
Thank you
surprised
for
I
that.
remembered
Amazing.
it.
I will check that now. I will check that YouTube, and I will learn that. Hey, Joe, just we
Sure.
have just a few questions more.
Of
Just
course. Yeah.
could you do that? Bocato says thank you. Love the we met again. Record among others with you on. Thanks. And Tony Cusina says hi, Joe.
Hey, Tony.
Was great to
Yeah.
was great to follow you talk your career and discuss. What direction do you think you would like to pursue in the near future?
Just to keep improving, Tony. Honestly, I mean, we're all just trying to get better at playing. I think for all of us, if we could just get to the place where we could play live again with other musicians, that would be amazing. I would that after that, anything that happens is a gift.
Yeah, that will be amazing. And Nestor Vivas says genial, and Sergio Vieira says wow, amazing. And Jesus Rodriguez says thank you, Edu, for this great interview. Greetings from Mexico.
Oh,
And he says beautiful compositions, maestro. Thank you.
that's wonderful.
Edu Ken says bravo. Enjoy. I have to say thank you so much to being here and to share your acknowledgement with us. For me, it was so special to have you. We never met before. We just talked about that situation in the hotel in Uruguay, the same festival.
Yes. Oh my
But
gosh.
I would love to see you in person sometime and stay some moment live, real live.
I hope that does happen. I would love to meet you face to face and hear you play live too, Edu. So keep playing, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you to all of your listeners today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and have a Merry Christmas for
And to
you
you,
and everybody. Okay, you at
and
home and everybody here that is listening us. Merry Christmas. Next Wednesday, we're gonna have Terry Line Carrington here to talk about drums or drum conversation. And thank you, Open Studio. Thank you, Rachel, Peter Martin, Dan Martin, and Open Studio Jazz to doing that. And one more time, Joy, thank you so much for being here.
my
It's an honor for
pleasure,
me.
Edu. My
Uh,
pleasure.
I hope to see you very soon.
Yes.
Um abraço.